John is back Wednesday. Maria is not for another week or so, but she is going to be calling in from the El Camino Trail in Portugal on Wednesday.
That is, she can break away from, I say beer, she says wine, but she's having a good time.
She did say cerveza in her text.
Cerveza, yes.
Yeah, or maybe juice. So I think there's a 6-hour time difference. Mm-hmm. So when she calls us, it'll be middle of the afternoon where she is. But that's about a 100-mile trail she's doing over the course of 10 days. It's a lot of walking.
But Maria is well equipped for it. She's takes her fitness quite seriously.
In studio, we welcome back a friend who hasn't been on in a couple of years, but has made many appearances. Joe Yates. Joe, good to see you again.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. Good to be here.
You look happy?
I'm pretty happy, yeah. As things go, yeah.
I like the beard.
Well, it's, a historic drama, so we put the beard on every time that happens.
And we will get to that in just a moment, the historic drama. Harriet Pearson. Good morning, Harriet. How are you?
Good morning. Nice to be here.
You hear the last name Pearson, and the question is, are you related to Steve Pearson?
Yes.
For 39 years.
By choice, too, right?
That's right.
Bill's answering the question for you. He's like, yes, I know she is. Bill, let her answer, though.
I cannot deny.
We've, I and others have mentioned this several times over the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, how fortunate we as a community, the Eastern Panhandle community, with Harriet and Steve choosing to move here. They have done
Bill, you're so nice.
Well, but I'm also very serious and very honest with this. On a host of fronts, they have made their mark, and it's an exceptionally positive mark in everything they do.
And the West Virginia Independent Observer newspaper, which is a wonderful source of information in the Jefferson County area.
And the Shepherdstown Opera House, they redid that, renovated. It's really a place to go now. It's a mecca for entertainment in the community. Harriet, when I first met her, she was on the board of advisors for the Stubblefield Institute. Harriet was one of those individuals that when she spoke, everybody immediately started listening because she had superb advice and insight. She's done a lot for the community, as has Steve.
And it is the Shepherdstown Opera House that we discussed right now.
It is. That's the hat I'm wearing today, and I honestly don't have anything to say. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
He was just leveling on the joy there, right? Yeah. So let's talk about Bleeding Kansas.
Bleeding Kansas. We are making our home at the Shepherdstown Opera House, which
maybe a
we
little
appreciate
context
so much.
before you start, though.
Yeah.
So Shepherdstown Opera House, we are the host and home of the new town-run theater company, which is led by none other than Joe Yates. So we're very honored to make our home, and the first production by town-run theater company is coming up in mid-May. Starts May 16th, and it's called Bleeding Kansas. And Joe, tell them a little bit about it.
Bleeding Kansas is a play that is set in Kansas in 1855. And at that time, Kansas was frontier. That was the Wild West, basically. And people were moving to Kansas in order to start a new life, mostly for farming and that sort of thing. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was enacted by Congress, and that permitted the people of Kansas to vote whether or not Kansas would be admitted to the Union as a slave state or a free state. So that is superimposed over people just moving there to get a new life, to have a better life for their children, as they say. So the play itself is an outstanding, I think, expose of just normal people interacting with each other, neighbors, friends. There's a young lady and a young man who interact with each other and do what young people do occasionally. And then you superimpose the political environment over top of that, and the play examines how that impacts people and what they do, how that changes their lives. And so for me, when I was reading the play, I chose this play because I think it's a beautiful mirror of where we are as a country right now. And, we need to learn from history, but we also just need to examine ourselves and examine how we interact as people. And this play is a beautiful example of people that are just trying to get by, trying to, be friends with each other. Young people, spring happens, that sort of thing, and then all of a sudden you put the political stuff in there and how that changes their lives. So it's appropriate, it's it's wonderful to see a historic play that is very appropriate for the audiences today.
But
Yeah.
but my knowledge of history, Joe, is that this particular place and time was unusual in as far as its violence. As far as the fact that neighbor was pitted against neighbor, not in just vocal, but in shooting grudges against each other.
No question about it.
And vigilantes roaming the country.
No question.
It was a very difficult time. And you made the analogy that there's a kind of an image of what comparison to what we're doing today. I hope we don't get to that stage.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. And that's kind of why we're doing the play,
Yeah.
is because, you know, you hold up a mirror and you say, hey, do we really want to go down this road, is the way I feel about it. You know, one side or the other, I don't choose a side. I just want to, you know, I want to get along with my neighbor, basically. And so that's what the people in this play want to do too. Yeah. And you know, is that available to them? Is it allowed by society? And that's really, you know, can we get along today? That's the point of the play, really.
Is it an overstatement, Joe, that it's in the case of much of the country, when the Civil War came, there was a much more disruptive, much more violent influence in what the communities held before. But in Kansas/Nebraska, the Civil War is actually a moderating influence because it had been so violent prior to the Civil War.
Absolutely. Kansas was referred to as the powder keg.
Yeah.
So was Harper's Ferry, obviously. John Brown's raid on there. John Brown was involved in both of those situations. They had the border ruffians that were coming in from the South that were trying to influence people in order to get them. They were pro-slavery, the border ruffians were. John Brown went in there because of the border ruffians, and he was an abolitionist. And so those two forces collided, and that's where the violence came in. The Osawatomie Massacre, and that was just one. There were quite a few. But, you know, John Brown was a catalyst in that play, in that area, and he was a catalyst in Harper's Ferry, and those two things kind of mirrored each other.
In the play, Bleeding Kansas, what's going to be the direction? Are you going to? You mentioned there was young folks doing what young folks do, neighbors trying to get along, but then you also mentioned the political overtones. You did not mention the violence. I introduced that. What's going to be the character of the play? Is it going to emphasize neighbors trying to get along, or is it going to emphasize the powder keg that ultimately exploded?
We don't take sides.
Yeah.
We never do. And when I play John Brown in the trial of John Brown in Charlestown, we don't take a side. I don't consider him to be a hero or a villain. He's just a man. And that's the way we look at this play. These are just people. And so we don't emphasize. We don't say, oh, the violence was bad. It's violent on both sides.
Sure.
And so the people, all we do is, our philosophy is theater is life. And when you're portraying a human being, a live human being on stage, you're just that human being. I'm not holding up a banner saying, you know, go this way or go that way. We're just people. And so that's our story.
Yeah.
That's our story. And that's the point, is the audience's availability to make decisions for themselves. And that's what we do.
As you can tell, Joe knows a lot about history, and I know there are a lot of Civil War historians in our area. It's been wonderful watching Joe and his 4 other founding members of the theater company bring something to life that's new, even though, Joe, you've been involved in local theater for 30 plus years.
It's been a while.
And you're well known. Yeah. So it seems like every night I come into the Opera House, you're practicing and rehearsing.
Yes, we do.
Bringing the show to life.
And this is your full-time gig now, right?
No, I'm still working.
Oh, you are?
I'm a commercial real estate appraiser.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm not. The wife won't let me retire yet. So we're working on that.
All right.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Because last time you were in here, you were doing a show with your son.
And he's in this too. He's one of the founding members.
Oh, very
Richard.
good.
I've been doing shows at St. Agnes, community involvement, that sort of thing, for the last 10 or 12 years. And that's what we have talked about a number of times. But this is more of a professional grade group that, not that, the kids that did the shows for the church weren't working hard at it, but this is more focused and more, I want to say, dedicated to the idea of theater as life.
What are the run dates for Bleeding Kansas?
May 16th. You want to go ahead with that?
I'm his agent, so
Yeah,
I'll
there
do
you
it.
go.
Very nice.
She's better at that than I am.
Here's a deal. May 16th is pay what you will. So if you want to come in for nothing or, drop a few quarters in or $1, that's great. So May 16th is the debut.
That's a Friday.
That's a Friday night.
Okay.
Then May 17th and 18th. Everything is at 7 p.m. except for the Sunday performances, which are at 3. And then the next weekend is May 23rd, 24th, and 25th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tickets in advance, $20.
And how do you get them in advance, Harriet?
operahouselive.com. operahouselive.com is where you go, and we have a schedule, full schedule, and you'll see the wonderful poster that Joe designed himself, Bleeding Flag, and that's pretty noticeable, so that's what you'll click on.
I want to ask you about the Opera House a bit. If you could give us a little bit of your history with getting it back running and renovating.
Yeah, that's a little saga, right?
Sure.
Building was built in 1910 by the former mayor of Shepherdstown, U.S. Martin, and built in 1910 in 6 months as a vaudeville theater. So 6-month construction, not very sturdy old building with no plumbing, no nothing. We bought it in 2018 and thought, it was in as-is condition, kind of what was expected, and we wanted to...
Was it operating in 2018?
It was operating sporadically. Lots of live music, but sporadically. So we thought, we'd be doing it as a going thing, and it flooded in May of 2018. 5,000 gallons spilled from a broken water washing machine hose. So it's not very.
Oh no!
It's not very elegant story, but washing machine hose was connected. It burst because it hadn't been up. It was old.
But wasn't it near the roof or the upper floor?
It was on the second floor.
So
it rained onto the theater, 5,000 gallons. So it ruined it. We had to open the walls, and the structural engineer said, well, this building has got to either be rebuilt or taken down. And so we thought about it for a little bit, and we said, we're going to bring it back. And so it took us almost 5 years. We officially reopened last year, and we have something going on pretty much every weekend. We're trying to keep it going with film and now live theater. We have lectures. We are available for private rentals. Kind of if you want to have a movie party, that'd be kind of cool. But we're doing a lot with the community. And what I've realized is I do most of the program and marketing is if we need to work with the community and build things together. And that's what we're doing with Joe Yates. We're hosting this, and that works real well.
Where in Shepherdstown are you?
We're right on German Street, next to the Press Room Restaurant, across the street from Komei Thai, right centrally located. It's a fine place.
Yeah, last year I worked with CATF. You hosted some of those. Are you doing that again this year?
The Contemporary American Theater Festival had, for 2 years, 2 summers in a row, they hosted one of their smaller plays. Our stage is pretty small, so what we love about Town Run is there are 5 actors, and that's about our capacity. So CATF had marvelous productions. I don't have to tell you, budgets are tight everywhere. So with the budget restrictions, CATF will not be returning this summer, unfortunately. So we won't be hosting them. They'll be doing their work on campus as they typically have. Yeah.
And Joe, doing these plays at the Shepherdstown Opera House?
Shepherdstown Opera House.
Right, I'm going to get the terminology exactly correct here. Sorry.
It's amazing. They did an incredible job rebuilding that space because I'll tell you a little side story. My wife and I, when we first got married, we looked at that building. We walked through it and said, this could make a great theater someday. And then as we really started to examine it, it was like, there's no way in the world we can afford to put this sucker
Sometimes
together.
I wish you had decided different, man.
What's the seational capacity?
It was amazing. About 100. Right?
Yeah. About 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the space is really, really professional grade, and so that's very exciting.
Are you happy with the acoustics and the sound and all?
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful.
What future shows are you hoping to put on?
Well, I got a couple in the back of my head. One of the shows that I plan to do is a play called Doubt, which is an interesting play. It was a movie that was very powerful movie. It's actually about a Catholic school where the Mother Superior believes that one of the parish priests is doing something that he shouldn't be doing with one of the students.
Yep.
And so it's an incredible piece of theater about that word, doubt, and how that carries through with all of the business of the Catholic Church and all of that stuff, and pretty much every organization. Now, I'm a Catholic.
As am I. I remember my wife was watching that movie, in fact.
It's a wonderful movie, and the play is virtually the same, words and situations. And so I still get to sit in my pew at the Catholic Church, even though I'm going to present this, because it's not a Catholic play. It's about humans. It's about doubt. It's about how people react to situations, and that's what we do at Town Run Theater Company. We don't pick plays that we think, oh well, this is going to be a rah production. We pick plays that are going to make people think.
Yeah, you're not doing fluff.
We're not doing fluff. No, we're not.
Shepherdstown is a unique community in West Virginia, and it's ideally suited for a variety of theaters which do exist already in Shepherdstown, and yours adds one more to a great cultural mix in that town. How have you blended in so far, Harriet? Any feedback?
It's a wonderful community, and we've been embraced by the community, and it's really a case of the more the merrier. It's a reinforcing function. So, for example, when the Contemporary American Theater Festival, CATF, had their preview of their plays coming up, we were invited to attend. The Town Run Theater Company was invited to get up, as was the Roving Peregrine Theater, which is now occupying the Black Box on Princess Street. You were both invited to get up and talk about upcoming productions. Mm-hmm. So it is a very mutually supportive community. And it's everyone's doing different things. So this is a strictly all-volunteer community effort where so far we are just doing it on our own. So this is self-funded. That's why we're hoping for ticket sales to help us out here.
And CATF has actually been supportive of us,
amazing.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a history at the CATF.
You were an understudy
there for 10, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some of the people that are still involved there, and we reached out and
one of their folks
they were
is
helpful.
helping.
Came and
right.
helped us with some technical stuff.
Will you be doing any shows while CATF is going on? So
definitely not.
So
we're so mutually supportive that we understand the cadence of how to schedule. So it's we're in May, and the other two I think you want to do two more plays this year. One in September, one holiday themed in December. Their time to support and enhance the life of the community. July is set aside for CATF because it really does take over Shepherdstown.
Does the Black Box also observe the similar?
I'm not sure. I think so. But there's a room for all sorts of things. So the town is very busy in the season, but there's always room for a little bit more. So we all play well together, I think, and it's just and the restaurants are there. So you can, we have partner restaurants who are getting ready to serve patrons who come to Bleeding Kansas. So anything from the Press Room and Kome and Bistro 112 and, of course, Alma B, they're all ready to serve so that they can get people to the theater on time for the show.
Have you gotten any grant funding for the help of rebuilding the theater or whatever?
No, the whole thing has been self-funded. We are getting ready, and we'll create a Friends of Shepherdstown Opera House soon so that we can be able to raise funds, grants, donations for the preservation of the building going forward and also support community programming. There's some shows that pay for themselves, and then others need a little bit of support. So this is these plays are in the category of it would be great to have sponsors for the next plays. Right now, the Opera House is the sponsor for this first one.
So, theater is traditionally a venue that requires support.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Now, when you opened the Opera House, Harriet, you had the director of West Virginia Cultural and History. and I've forgotten the name of the gentleman.
Randall Reed Smith
Yes.
cut the ribbon. Yes,
He did.
That was great. Yeah.
But they did not give you any financial support
We
at
didn't
that point
ask.
in time?
We didn't ask. So this
Okay.
is a kind of a thing. We were beneficiaries of rehabilitation tax credits because obviously we rehabilitated a historic structure.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the Shepherdstown Historic District. So we have benefited from, I think, forward-looking programs on the part of West Virginia and state government. So we obviously took advantage of those kinds of things. But this is where 100-seat theater. It's a intimate. It's sometimes I don't use the word intimate because somebody can misrepresent it, but cozy. It's cozy. You come in and you feel warm already, and you can have a small audience, and so the size and the scale is enough so that we can operate it as a family, basically.
But your renovation of it feels new. It feels comfortable.
It does,
feels
it
it's
does.
clean.
And it's accessible.
And
So you can
accessible,
come in
yeah.
a wheelchair, or if you have a disability, you can wheel right in from the street. And there's all sorts of accessibility features.
And you and Steve spent a lot of time with acoustics that Rob referred to. So
Yeah, Steve did. He's
Yeah.
our techie guy. Yeah. But thank you for having us over. OperaHouseLive.com.
I was just about to ask, how do you get tickets? And you can buy those online and just.
OperaHouseLive.com. I'm going to give you a coaster, Rob. You can have a coaster.
We'll use it
I didn't get
right
a
now.
coaster.
Joe, you got to work for coasters.
I'm telling you, I've been working.
Back with the final minute right after this.
Thank you.